You guys gonna hear me? Yeah, I'll be right down Hot 100 May 17, 2025 particular prices.
Mark in affiliation with Spectrum Pulse, and yeah, calm before the storm. And this, it's
Morgan Wallen.
Billboard Breakdown.
Don't do it.
I don't remember.
Alright, saying it now. This might be the last normal week we get in the Hot 100 for a while. I would have said that about the Morgan Wallen album bomb week coming pretty soon, but next week it looks like it'd be something close to a sleep token.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Really, that's possible. We live in some interesting times. And how much anything is actually going to stick on the Hot 100 is completely up in the air. And that's a double-edged sword, because while I've been complaining for weeks now that the Hot 100 is kind of stale and way too many bad songs are catching traction, I'm not sure album bombs from Sleep Token and Morgan Wallen are the ideal solution to clear it all out. All I'm saying. But before we get to that, our top 10, where to my surprise, Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA still held the number 1. Although I don't know why I'm that surprised at this point. Yeah, it doesn't have the top spot on streaming or on sales, but it made up the margin on the former, and it's still utterly dominant.
Guys, I'm not even trolling. I've been having a problem with, like, the laptop that I record on. Like, it literally just randomly buffers. Shit is so annoying. I'll be back.
Still utterly dominant on the radio, even as it's absolutely
Bro, what? Okay, I think we're good.
as it's absolutely losing spin.
Pray that
And I
we're
would
good.
say it
Holy
opens up
fuck,
the door
bro.
For Ordinary by Alex Warren at number 2, given how it is so dominant on sales and streaming. But when Luther has nearly 3 times the amount of radio,
Bro, does anyone even like this song? Like, do people like actually like enjoy listening to this?
song does, and this is not exactly growing quickly, well, that might be the answer there. Even if I've got the suspicion that Ordinary is going to have a monster radio run all the same, it will probably go to number 1 at some point.
Probably.
Below then we got Die With A Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars at number 3, with a good streaming week compensating for all the radio losses, and then actually rising to number 4, we got a bar song Tipsy by Shabuzi. Because
Morgan Wallen, save us.
Radio threw it a Hail Mary,
Please save us.
streaming wasn't half bad for once. That's not quite the case for Nokia by Drake, down at number 5. The streaming is solid and it actually had a pretty good sales week, but it only seems like serious radio muscles being thrown to it now, which might be too little too late.
Damn.
And that takes us to Pink Pony Club by Chappell Round at number 6, which has absolutely peaked and is now on the downward trajectory, which is not something I can really say definitively for Lose Control by Teddy Swims at number 7, where, make no mistake, the radio...
Mark, like, this shit has to be the most boring thing ever, right? Like, just the same fucking song every week. Like, 90 weeks, fucking 100 billion weeks, talk about the same fucking song every time. That shit has to be just, like, the worst shit ever.
Is getting rid of it just way slower than you would actually expect, and it gained on streaming again. Than you would actually expect, and it gained on streaming again, which of course takes us to Beautiful Things by Benson Boone, now up to number 8, which actually has more radio that's also slowly dissipating, but the streaming is rock solid. Why are y'all keeping these songs around? Aren't you
Don't blame me.
tired of them yet?
Shit, I'm not streaming this shit.
2025? I'm not saying Anxiety by Doechii continuing up to number 9 is all that great in contrast. It's basically being propped up on sales on the radio. Streaming wants nothing to do with it. But hey, that was at least enough to knock back I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen at number 10.
It'll be back up.
Rebound in a week or two. Seems like it may have peaked on the radio and streaming is down. I'm grateful for small blessings, even if I don't think they will last. And that naturally takes us to our losers and our dropouts. And the latter group, we got a decent number of them, but it's also where we have to talk a little bit about Billboard and some label politics. Because I've been complaining for the past couple of weeks now that there are songs that absolutely should have gone recurrent that are below the top 50 and over 20 weeks in, but they didn't. And much of
What
that is tied
songs,
to
though?
Billboard thinking the song might have some radio longevity or something close to an upward trajectory in some channel, so they're going to make an exception. Made all the worse because radio operates at the speed of molasses over Velcro and refuses to rotate songs in or out all that time effectively. Now, the problem is that Billboard refuses to say when they are giving such an exception, or justify why they might be doing so, or even indicate the amount of activity that might indicate when an exception is granted. And thus, when I make my passing joke that the check cleared, I'm only able to do that because Billboard's not gonna say otherwise. And when your business runs on the trust of the general public that they pay to your numbers, where Billboard's had to make statements to the press in the past to defend their integrity, yeah, this shit looks away. I bring up all of this because when we then consider the songs that are allowed to fail, that's kind of revealing. Yeah, it sucks that The Giver by Chappell Roan flopped and it's gone.
That song's
and I
ass.
largely understand
Sorry,
why No
wasn't
Bull
good.
by Don Toliver was finally allowed to rotate out. But I find it interesting that the second Drake gave up on Gimme a Hug getting shipped to radio, they were just fine with dropping it out and fast. And when we get to our losers, in the story of this year, let's start off with the debuts that are not getting any traction. Like What Was That by Lorde at 60, Money on Money
Damn,
by
really?
Thug and Future at 71, and My World by Chucky at 91. Then we got the continued losers where, you know,
I
I'm not gonna
thought
complain.
Lord would have some kind of longevity. I don't know. Maybe it's just like the second week drop off type shit. But like I don't know. Like what was that? I don't think like it's that. Could I imagine now on the radio? I don't know.
Denial's a River by Doechii at 73 or BMF by SZA at 96. They got their year-end list spots for 2025. I guess the latter is probably gone next week. Hopefully, let's take Steve's Lava Chicken by Jack Black with it at 98. But the rest, well, outside of Te Cuerla Ver by Aleman and Nutton Vega at 88, just not getting any momentum, it's more some Nashville radio reshuffling, with Texas by Blake Shelton at 72, Fix What You Didn't Break by Nate Smith at 90, and Holy Smokes by Bailey Zimmerman
Holy
at 94.
fucking smokes, I got my money up.
Any of those leaving either.
Count on
Right,
these
we'll make
bitches.
some observations coming our returns and gains. So let's start off with 3 songs that are coming back. Por Esos Ojos by Fuerza Regida getting a spark up to 64. Hands of Time.
I don't
by
even
Eric
remember what
Church
that
getting
sounds
an
like.
album boost to 70, and okay, The Days by Crystal back at 99 somehow. I really can't tell you why. The gains, though, Like Him by Tyler the Creator and Lola Young, it's a good song. Don't get me wrong, but because it got a tiny bit of shaky radio momentum this week, it jumped to 77, but it's been
Damn.
below the recurrency cutoff for at least weeks. A bit of a shaky push to satiate radio should not be justification to keep it around, especially when it already clinched year-end list position. I like the song, but we can let it move on. Speaking of satiating radio, Happened to Me by Russell Dickerson is getting the country push at 58. Swell. So thank God I most like the other 2 games, with Love Me Not by Raven Lene getting real streaming traction at 41, as did Undressed by Somber at 44. I can't complain about either of them.
This guy really
Stuff
came out of
happened
nowhere,
here.
no?
But now on to a shorter,
Like not even
list of
with
titles
one
that I
song, with
really
2
can't
songs that
predict
are going
whether any of
crazy.
them
I
are gonna
find
last
that
against the
pretty
tide that will
interesting.
come. Number 95, Mi Prometi by Ivan Cornejo.
It's not bad.
So going back through my song reviews, I've tended to have a wonky relationship with this guy's music for years now.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's bad. You know, it's a slow, sad song. You know, it's pretty emotional. I don't really know what he's saying, but you know, it's something a little different. You know,
Usually
it's
trending
different.
towards the negative, so I did not have high expectations for this. And yeah, that was somewhat apropos, because this is embracing much of the same mushy, clumsily produced melodrama that I've heard from him time and time before. But I will say
Classic.
the sound has a little bit more texture and atmosphere this time. The vocals are still awash in a lot of reverb amidst the turgid synths and the very brittle guitars, but there's a little bit more of a ragged edge around his vocal pickup, which still sounds muddier than it should, and a little bit more choppy, percussive intensity in the guitars that unfortunately never builds the crescendo convincingly. I do think the lyrics are a little better than I expected. A post-breakup wallow where he's actually trying to get over himself, a promise to move on where he's clearly not over her, but I wouldn't exactly call him special or anything, or really all that mature or interesting. Overall, okay enough, but also not special enough for me to remember much. Move on.
I mean, it's
Number
not bad,
92, Gnarly by Cat's Eye.
This was definitely the fucking talk of the Twitter. This song was the talk of the Twitter. Is that what you call it? I don't know. It was talk of the Twitter, whatever. You know how they said talk of the town? I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking. Well, no, I'm gonna keep talking. Actually, fuck you. Look, man. Whatever Mark's about to say. By the way he said the title of the song, it's kind of suggesting that he's gonna say it's shit. I don't think it's shit. I see the appeal. I would not go out of my way to listen to this, but I don't think it's terrible. There's a part of me that kind of likes it, but kind of doesn't. I don't know how to explain it, you know? I don't know.
So this is one of those cases where I heard the negative buzz around this group and this song in particular well before anything else, so let me try to explain. Cat's Eye was originally created with backing from Hybe as a global girl group, featuring members from South Korea, the United States, Switzerland, and the Philippines as part of a reality show competition in 2023. Then there was a Netflix documentary on their creation, which goes into the night.
Damn, I didn't know that.
How these girl groups are usually constructed, and from there, well, it seems like a lot has gone sideways, with the girls seeming like more of influencers than performers, with this song having no co-writing credits from them, but a major credit from hyperpop act Alice Long Yu Gao. I've also heard the song was terrible, and yeah, it kind of is, but in a way I find it a little interesting, because it almost sounds like a parody of this sort of braggadocious, borderline incoherent flexing you hear in a lot of K-pop. You don't
No, why would you do this? Alright, back.
Parody of this sort of braggadocious, borderline incoherent flexing you hear in a lot of K-pop. You don't normally pick such an instantly dated 90s word like gnarly if you weren't somewhat taking the piss, especially if they could make it clear that it could describe, well, anything, good or bad. But that's the thing, from Alice Long Yu Gao, I might buy that with the rubbery metallic synths and the trap skitters and the badly appropriated slang with the contorted vocal filters within the context of hyperpop, a balance of self-aware piss take and flexing, but Cat's Eye don't really have the emotional range to sell that. Instead, they have this sort of bratty intensity that has to sound over the top, but doesn't contribute to a strong composition. Early Kesha ripoff, this is not. And that's the thing, when you pick a word so idiosyncratic as gnarly, it doesn't mean, well, everything they want it to mean. They've got the energy and volume, but not the personality to make redefining it stick. So it just redefines headaches in record time. I'm willing to accept in different hands this could have worked, but yeah, not good at all. Avoid this. Number 89, Old Phone by
That's
Ed
pretty easy to do. I like this one. Definitely better than Azizam. Like, I'm sorry, I did not like that. This is definitely better than that one.
In the past where it belongs.
Okay, so Azizam was a fine song, but it wasn't that special from Ed Sheeran. I was hoping we get one truly great single. He's normally good for at least one per album cycle, and okay, put aside the fact that the conceit of finding one's old phone and getting it working again to see a part of your life you thought you left behind, it's an oddly banal idea in order to center a song, and how the vocal mastering is painfully compressed. Somebody let Ed Sheeran's lead vocal line fully breathe across the mix, at least before the auto-tune multi-tracking kicks in, but I kinda get the pathos here. In an era before we swapped out SIM cards, there is something to looking back on a time in your life where you may have had old friends who have passed away, or exes you've long ignored, or even just a snapshot of your own bad behavior driving people away, and now you're trying to reconcile that. And trying to reckon with all of it has some poignancy, which is why his conclusion to just put it all back and move the phone away, and just move on, it feels too easy. I get that you've moved past that point of your life, but life also doesn't always work like that, and makes a pretty flimsy composition with the featherlight acoustics and the folk rollic feel even more slight to me. I don't know, there's an idea here I think could work. It's certainly catchy enough. I was hoping for a little...
I feel like, I don't know, like, if he's saying, you know, move on, I feel like that is a good message, no? Like, it's an easy message, but it's also a good message, no? Because, like, bro, you never want to, like, dwell on the past. Like, you want to be in the present, you know what I'm saying? And if you know, cling on to those memories and always think about those memories, then you're not gonna be able to fucking, what was it called? Get better, be a better person, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, if you base your life on fucking past memories and nostalgia, you're fucking like a nostalgic dopamine farmer, then I feel like that's not good at all, you know? And I feel like saying you should move on is probably a good message, you know? I don't know. That's just my opinion.
A little more, though. He is...
Maybe I'm wrong.
Number 79, Thought It Was Love by Time Myers.
I like this. This is good.
So the last time I talked about Texas country artist Time Myers was way back in January of this year, and I remember hearing a lot of potential. His breakthrough Ends of the Earth had some flaws, but overall was decent amidst a slew of mediocrity that week, so I really wanted to hear what a follow-up could sound like, and... yeah, you know what? It's pretty damn good, but it's got the feel of a song that might resonate a little more when Myers is older. Yeah, I know that's not fair, but when you have this sort of winsome, slightly embittered breakup song where I will ignore his underage whiskey drinking and highlight there's no way in hell he's talking about having a mortgage in the first and third verse when he is 17. Come on.
Wait,
but outside of that, there is a lot.
Wait. This guy's 17? This guy's my age. What? Wait, what am I doing with my life? This guy's like hitting the Billboard charts and like making like billions of dollars, and I'm just here.
Praise here. The gentle traditionalism with some really nice pedal steel accents around the piano and strings that sounds impeccably produced.
This guy is
really
what? Okay, but Nick, you do not have a mortgage when you were 17. What? Unless like he got so rich off of music. He probably didn't though. Bro's just lying.
It was never quite as good as he sets it up to be. He mentions that in the final line of the first verse.
Should I collab with him?
But it really wasn't, because he doesn't fully grasp what love is yet.
Time Myers collab coming up, guys.
But never quite consistently.
No cap.
But still, give the guy 20 years with this song, he could have something really special, and that's not his fault in the slightest. Really nice stuff. Glad he's getting traction. Want to hear more. Number 76, Priceless by Maroon 5 and Lisa.
All right, look. I know I've been hyping this up for ever since the inception of my channel. No reactions. I've been hyping up the Maroon 5 comeback, okay? And now that it's finally happened, it's safe to say that it was an experiment that was embarrassing and also extremely disappointing. Okay? Now maybe I'm a little ahead of myself right now, but first of all, you got crazy global K-pop artist Lisa on your track, right? And you didn't even crack the top 50 for a debut. And after like a few weeks of being out, you're not even over like 15 million streams. I feel like that is very embarrassing. You know? And when I would talk about the Maroon 5 comeback, I would talk about like, oh, them getting like a new rapper. And, oh, what if they had Ice Spice, But I didn't expect them to get Lisa. And I think if they did it right, I felt like this song could have been way bigger. But the song just isn't that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen to Adam Levine. Why does Adam Levine sound like this? Like,
and Lisa.
And the song is just like not that catchy, Like, at least when Maroon 5, they would put out their stuff, it would be catchy. But, like, this isn't catchy. Adam Levine sounds like shit on it. I think Lisa did good. But it's kind of disappointing. You know, I thought, when I first saw that Lisa was going to be on the song, I was like, oh shit, like, this is going to be huge. And then it just wasn't that good, and then it just wasn't huge at all, you know? It's a big disappointment. I don't know how they fumbled, but they somehow fumbled. And the video is weird. Like, this nigga's like 60 years old, and she looks like she's like fucking 22. I don't know. Like, Adam, you could have made this video like maybe like when you had the fucking hair like at mid 2010s. Like, you could have made this video, but like now, like, you're fucking bald and like have like tattoos on your fucking bald head. Like, I don't know. I don't know, like, what, like, I don't know. It's not, the video is not believable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't believe that Lisa would want fucking crippled, holy fucky fuck Adam Levine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. It's just, like, the whole, I don't know.
I mean, I think we were lucky that we avoided Maroon 5 coming back for as long as we did. They've been off the charts for a long time, so much so that I think the majority thought they were just done. Yet, naturally, they got a song with Lisa, Blackpink to get them back to the top again, and don't think I'm kidding there. This already has a major radio push. But I don't think it's...
It does, but, like, I don't... Alright, I was just only looking at the streams, but maybe the radio will carry it, but, like, I don't know. Like, I haven't really seen I haven't seen the song go crazy on the charts yet. I don't know. Maybe I'm just pre-firing, but, like, I don't know. It's just, like, I don't know.
It's built to do much because, oof, this is rough. And Maroon 5 is trying to embrace more guitars again. It's a bad sign that they have the most watery and limp funk with no punchy bass, and Adam Levine at his most checked out, possibly ever, with precisely zero chemistry with Lisa. He sounded lazy before, and maybe it's the scuffed up vocal mix that pairs really badly with Lisa's ultra polish, or how he's running through the most limp love song cliches, but it sounds so half-assed. And I include Lisa in that. It's not like she's bringing any significant verve when Adam Levine is mewling about how hot she is, and she just has to say, yeah, now act like it. The only reason this is moving at all is the Maroon 5 name and nostalgia that, quite frankly, everyone should have gotten over a decade ago.
No, bro, what? Lisa is the one who's... What? Bro, if you get a K-pop fucking person on your song, it will move, bro. Like, what?
This isn't good. Y'all
there is no Maroon 5 nostalgia. People hate Maroon 5. No one likes Maroon 5. Like,
skip
that. That is
Number
just not
36, Backup Plan.
Let's be honest,
Bailey
bro.
Zimmerman and Luke Combs. So I was really curious about this song. If Bailey Zimmerman's gonna get a proper push to actually stick around, of which I think I'm somewhat on board given the few songs I legit really like from him, and how All the Way with Big X the Plug is strikingly solid, a team up with Luke Combs, that's a major cosign. And it's a shame the song's just kind of okay. The sort of rise and grind and you'll get through it. Getting back up is the only backup plan for me. That sort of material feels eye-rollingly cliche, and while I got more tolerance for the blown out stomp clap than most, the second Luke Combs shows up with a more neo-traditional sound palette around him with more saloon piano, banjo, and organ and warmer guitar tones, it becomes very obvious he's a way stronger, fiery presence on record than Bailey Zimmerman can be.
I mean, obviously.
At this current time, he's still young. I also wish they had more interplay or tried for some harmonies on the final hook outside of one line, or if the guitar solo was able to do anything interesting. But the line that stuck out to me on the hook was "Keep on the blinders," a reference to a tool used with horses to keep them on the straight and narrow, and I just think that's really weird in this context. Overall, feels more like a cosign of a good business arrangement rather than anything that's all that special. Kind of a shame.
True.
I wanted this to be
This
more.
shit meh.
All I'm saying.
And finally, number 25, Burning Blue by Mariah the Scientist.
Personally, not my cup of tea.
Well, this has been very long in coming. For those who don't know, Mariah the Scientist is an Atlanta R&B singer-songwriter who's been around since the late 2010s, but has kind of struggled to break through outside of a couple generally good features. With her albums, for me, it's more of a case of hearing a lot of potential, but kind of spotty execution. And that also effectively describes a lot of my opinions on this song. The metallic, oddly springy percussion against the softer, dreamy keys and the deeper strings actually works better with the more compressed and touched up vocal leads that sound a little bit more synthetic than I would prefer. That was a surprise. I'm getting some Ella May vibes, but unlike Ella May, when
I can
she
hear
starts to
it.
flood out the bridge, Mariah's voice is given a bit more space to breathe with the metallic tones as more of an intentional accent rather than just bog standard R&B vocal production. Now for the lyrics, she's really trying to work that fire and ice metaphor. Ice being coated blue, that's common, but blue flame is scientifically some of the hottest it can be, all built around her give and take with her partner, Young Thug, where she's backing him all the way.
Oh, damn, I forgot she's with Young Thug. I forgot about that.
After his stint in jail. I was kind of surprised in hearing that. If I've got a critique, it's how oddly stiff this song is, which might fit for an elegant, quiet storm ballad with all the strings, but you'd hope the groove could feel a bit more supple and soft focus. That'd make it a lot hotter for me, where paradoxically this leaves me cooler on it than I would like. It's still okay, maybe it'll grow further, just not there yet. And yeah, that's our week. Feels a little underwhelming overall with the best.
It is pretty underwhelming week.
Tom Myers, he sweeps in again. But Gnarly by Cat's Eye was so goddamn annoying that nothing else was really competing for the worst.
You don't get it, old man.
5. Next week,
Okay.
well, again, we might have that Sleep Token album bomb with a bit of Kali Uchis or Pink Pantheress around.
So go and wrap your arms around me. All right, guys. What do you think of the Billboard breakdown? What do you think of New Arrivals?